Everyone, can I ask you all please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is May 13th, 2025. First thing on our agenda tonight is regarding Justice Court, purchase order 112504, furniture for the Justice Court. Purchase order 112504, I said that already. Total cost is $6,633.59. This is funds that are refunded to Justice Court through the state. So there's zero cost to the town.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Mark.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is authorization to approve a local law amending town code, section 218-109, dealing with the town zoning code amendment procedure and notices required thereon. As you are all very well aware, we've been talking about this for quite a while. The town has received
Testing.
Can you hear me now? Is that a little better? Yes?
Testing.
Oh, his was unplugged.
Jack, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll try that again. Did you get the part to this town board meeting? Authorization to approve local law amending town code, section 218-109, dealing with the town zoning code, amendment procedures, and notices required thereunder. As you know, we had closed the public hearing at the last public meeting. This is authorization for us to approve the law. We have had quite an extensive discussion on this. We've received emails. The town board has discussed this extensively on what we thought we needed to do. We've looked at the whole area. We know that this is extension of an existing hamlet zone that was created during the master plan. I know that, Tom, you had some comment on?
Yeah, I had a suggestion. First of all, thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate your input and your involvement. It means a lot to us. We certainly want to listen to your concerns. We're making sure this law is stronger, that you're notified properly. We got a suggestion from one of the residents I thought was excellent, and I want to incorporate it into this legislation. And the suggestion was to notify all property owners within 500-foot radius of the perimeter of the property, which is the subject of the application. I'm respectfully asking the board to include that in our legislation and have the town attorney draft the amendment. So that will make it a stronger document, and I thought it was an excellent suggestion, and that gives it a broader scope of notification.
Darius, is there any issue with adding that?
Nope. So right now we had, it would be contiguous landowners, opposite sides, same street. This would be more encompassing. Anyone within 500 feet radius of the property or properties affected.
Okay.
They'd have to get certified mail return receipt requested notice.
Town board members, anybody have an issue with this?
No.
No, I do not.
No, I do not.
Okay.
Well, I thank you. I'd like to make a motion for approval with that amendment to make the document stronger, and I appreciate your support, and thank you for coming out.
Motion by Tom with the amendment.
Excuse me.
It's
You're, I'm sorry, you're out of order, ma'am. You have to wait till business from the floor. Thank you.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is authorization to approve the acceptance of Pleasant Ridge Townhouse Community Hold Harmless Agreements for deck extensions as a result of amended site plans. We had an issue over there where people were extending their decks and they were coming on to the town's easements, which would make it a challenge if there was a problem with utilities in that area. So this updates the hold harmless agreement for deck extensions in that area. Darius, is there any legal
No, this has
terminology?
been reviewed by the town engineer and myself, essentially being that if anyone encroaches upon our easement and we need to go fix the line, the sewer line in the future, we can do it, and there's no cost to us if any of their patios get damaged. So they've agreed to that. Hopefully there's no need to do any work on it, but this protects the town in the future.
Thank you.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to approve spring high school internship in the building department, planning and zoning. Salvatore Simili. Let's see when it starts. Start date will be May 14th, ending May 30th for approximately 25 hours per week, with the requirement of completing up to 25 hours of experience per week per school requirement.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to approve Spring High School internship in the tax receiver's office. Adriana Escobedo, a senior from Westlake High School. Adriana is an incredible student who has been interested in tax receiver's office. The internship is a wonderful program for graduating seniors. It will begin May 14th and end on June 6th, up to 20 hours per week.
I'll move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization is sought to appoint Anthony Toadhill as a seasonal basis as part of the paid internship under the title of intermediate clerk to begin on June 2nd and end August 8th. Mr. Toadhill's hourly rate will be $15, and he will work an average of 35 hours per week.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have our investment report. Town's current rate of interest is 3.75%. At this time, it's business from the floor. Anyone else wish to address the board is welcome to do so. If you hadn't signed in already, if you please do that. Give us your name and your address.
Yes, Kurt Myers, 65 North Kensico Avenue, Valhalla. So I appreciate the thing that you passed where future people will get notice. I do have a couple questions. I'm sorry I was not prepared on the 11th with the questions because I didn't get notice. So now that I know a little bit more, I just want to understand. So the word you used was the rezoning of the lot 75, right? So if you guys see the picture, the dark red is rezoning, the red is the old zone. There's a little spot there in white, right? So
Can you
extension,
just turn it a little bit? Thank you.
yeah, so extension to me would be not that, like you've said, that's not spot zoning, but my house is number 65, which is right in that white spot. So to me, extension just logically would mean coming up higher, and like my house, which is somehow omitted from this and surrounded on 3 sides, would have been part of this extension. Can you give me kind of the reasoning why that didn't happen?
Where is your house, sir?
So
I'm
your
sorry.
house is underneath it?
Yes, yes. So the red line is where your zoning already was. The big red box is the one that you rezoned. And this little white
Over there, yeah.
spot, like I said, that doesn't look to me like an extension. That looks to me like a spot. But I know that spot zoning is not something we do,
No,
so
we don't.
that's not what happened. So why would, like, just logically, the extension not cover this one house that's surrounded on 3 sides by this new zoning now, not have been included in this extension of town zoning?
That's a good question. We-
Could it be because if my house had been rezoned, would you have had to give me notice then?
Yeah.
So by leaving this little white spot, I didn't get notice. It surrounds me on 3 sides. Understandably, there was no law to give me notice. Now there's a law that would give me notice, but I do kind of think I've raised enough questions here that we maybe want to revisit or reopen the March 11th zoning. Because to me, I don't know how the rest of you feel. Does that look like an extension of rezoning or a spot zone? Which I know we don't do here
Could you address
because we're a good
the board?
town.
Could you address the board, please?
Yes, sorry. So yeah, so that's, I was just showing
Can I see a little bit closer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one question, does he want it rezoned? You want your property rezoned?
Well,
make a
I
petition?
would have liked my property rezoned on the 11th because then I would have gotten notice that this was
You were
happening.
here, right, I think?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe
I
you
was
were
here on the
Yeah.
11th and I raised.
You
the
said it
concern.
was a good idea.
No, I didn't say it was a good idea. I said I'm not opposed to development. I'm opposed to not telling somebody that their house surrounded on 3 sides is being rezoned.
There are currently structures on the property next to your home, correct?
Correct. You know what? That's actually a really good question. So the other point I just want to bring up for a case in point, this was the picture, which somehow seems really odd to me that this went through Westchester County and was kind of approved or reviewed. It went through this town, was approved before there was zoning. Okay, not approved,
It
but
wasn't
looked at, understood, right? The other point I would make about that is that big green spot I told you before is my house, right? So this is a very inaccurate picture because I can show you, this is me standing on my back porch. And that white house you see behind me, that's where I'm gonna be able to open and close the garage doors for this 34.
That's the old rectory, correct? That's the old rectory
Yes,
that was
yes. So that right
with the
there
church. Mhm.
is that same picture of like where they cropped me out in green. Like that's how close this giant thing that's been proposed, not approved.
Correct, and that's the issue, that we are not here in regard
Understood.
to
We'll
approval of
hit one
that
later.
structure.
Let's stick with the issue at hand, which is, do you feel that is just an extension and not a spot? Logically. I mean, I'm not worried about laws, I'm just saying logically.
Would you like your property to be rezoned, to be included in that zone?
If we will reopen the rezoning meeting, absolutely.
No, that meeting is over. I'm talking about this piece here.
No, that's
If you
fine.
feel that there was an error there that we will address with our planning consultant, then I'd be happy to look at that piece, if the town board felt.
We definitely can, but again, the main point I was making was it just seems awfully convenient that it wasn't zoned, so therefore I didn't receive notice. But if it had been rezoned, I would have been given notice.
I don't understand the reason why it was cut out, to be honest with you, but I will find out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else wish to address the board?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can't hear.
Can you get to the mic?
And
Just
I
say that
just,
to the mic.
Mary Ann,
Could you go up to the mic? Because can't hear you.
Oh, that's ironic, so Mary Ann Rissman Howe.
Okay.
Because it works now, it's so good. So anyway, I just wanted to ask, what are the impact studies that have been done in this, for this area, for this construction? It's a huge construction, huge. How many residents are anticipated to be living in each of the units?
You are aware that this has to go to the planning board, right?
Well,
That
I'm just
structure that you
aware,
see has not been approved by the planning board.
but you've
It's a
approved
conceptual-
it to go
The
forward.
zoning we approved,
Correct.
not the
But-
size of the building,
but
or the amount of
isn't-
units.
Right, but isn't that part of the conversation when you rezone something, the anticipation of what should be involved? Correct?
That is for the planning board to decide.
But there is some type of anticipation. Once you change zoning, you anticipate something to be done, correct?
It's allowed to be.
And there's
something else to be built.
ramifications for that too. Like, you can just imagine with this huge construction, how many cars? The egress, right? How many people living in each household? Not only the anticipated taxes, right? People anticipate incoming taxes, but also how many cars per unit? You know, we have something comparable to it already by the dam, and we see the parking, there's not enough parking. There's what, an average of 3.5 cars per unit, and that construction there anticipated 1.5 cars per unit. So I'm concerned about that. I'm really concerned about the quality of life. I'm concerned about the impact this has on the entire community, not just 500 feet beyond. And quite honestly, I think if someone was building a shed, everyone in the perimeter is. What's the definition of 500 feet in terms of how many people were legally supposed to have been notified by letter, by registered letter? 500 feet is how many people versus the impact this huge construction will have on the entire community. Not only the entire community, but the community immediately around it. So I'm very, very concerned, and I'm sure people, are you concerned as well? And it's just,
You're welcome to voice your thoughts at the planning board
Right.
meeting.
But
That's
you-
what it's for.
right, right. And just, you represent us. You've
We
been
didn't,
voted
we didn't
in.
approve the amount of units or anything like that.
I know, but well, it's more than a thought that you've approved. You've rubber stamped something to
That's
go
not true.
forward, right?
That's not true.
So, well, the idea of it, right? The first step of it has
Well, you
been.
could say whatever you like. Don't put words in our mouth. That's
Well,
not-
tell me what you have approved then in your words.
We approved extending an existing Hamlet zone to
Okay.
include that piece of property.
Okay, and it did not include one very special home that was
We're
right
very well
there.
aware of that.
So that's why I'm concerned about how much time and attention has been put into this. There's no detail involved whatsoever if that huge house has been totally overlooked. Did anyone even walk, did all of you even walk there to take a look?
Yes.
And you did not notice that that entire home was not part of it?
No, I didn't realize it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so maybe we need someone else as part of the committee to help, maybe point out some of these things. Maybe someone who's a little closer. So, anyway, I thank you for your time, but please know we're all paying a lot of attention to this, and we all really, really care. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else like to address the board?
Oh, just a little history here too. This did go to the planning board that recommended the zone change for this property. It also was recommended by the town planner. And it is directly contiguous to the Valhalla Hamlet zoning that was analyzed by the town for multiple years in the comp plan. And it is also probably, I don't know, I drove by just now, 50 feet from the PRDT 7 zone, which allows multifamily housing and as was built there back in the 90s. So the thought concept behind the whole concept of the Hamlet zoning and multifamily zoning for this area, including directly contiguous to the existing Hamlet zone, was to allow for multifamily housing. Now, the size and scope will be analyzed by the planning board. They will do a traffic study. They will do studies next to this gentleman's house to see how far away the building should be. And the density may significantly decrease. It may be smaller in size, These will all be studied at the planning board once an application is submitted, which has not been submitted yet. And we encourage everyone to look at the website for the planning board agendas to see when this will be on. And we will post it on our website when it's on.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, my name is Stephen Cutney, and I live at 198 Prospect Ave. I just want to thank you for passing the amendment earlier, and I just have some comments that I'd like to make. Like many other Valhalla residents, I was not aware of the rezoning decisions until recently. On May 2nd, Examiner News article quotes an interview with Town Supervisor Carl Fagenzi. They should have known about it. Well, the fact of the matter is that most people didn't know about this until after it was quietly approved by the folks on this town board. I know that town officials will argue that this rezoning was transparent, but the reality is that many of us learn about local happenings via the residents of the Town of Mount Pleasant social media group, as opposed to hard to find and unpromoted information shared on the town website. This is a closed group that town officials frequently use to post their wins, which makes the lack of adequate notice regarding a 34-unit mega project on less than 1 acre parcel very telling of the local politics at play. From my perspective, living near the Lakeview soccer fields, I remain concerned that families with young children would be impacted by increased traffic flow from West Westlake Drive, North Kensico Ave, Prospect Ave, Elm Place, Cedar Street, and Cleveland Street, adding to the safety concerns we already face with regular through traffic speeding. This is a single-family neighborhood, and a 34-unit monster complex down the road could potentially add over 60 vehicles to our streets, worsening traffic congestion, street parking, and pedestrian safety. We need to reevaluate the rezoning. The scale of this project negatively impacts the entire Valhalla community, and I share those concerns about overcrowding our school system, the loss of community character, and decreasing home values as example. I believe our town board quietly rezoned this parcel in order to remove any potential red tape that could block future development in Valhalla. And to be clear, this is about state funding for transit-oriented housing offered by Governor Kathy Hochul, as this parcel sits in close proximity to the Metro North Valhalla Station. This is New York State's most dramatic zoning reform in the past 50 years, and I see this agenda at the top of the list for local politicians. It is estimated transit-oriented development will lead to 800,000 new homes in the next 10 years, which is almost double the number that would be produced if current trends continue. So again, we need to reevaluate the rezoning. We need to pass the law providing additional notice on the rezoning changes to neighboring property owners. Thank you. And there should be no rush to rezone, and this law should retroactively apply to the parcel at 75 North Kensico Ave. Thank you for your time.
I have a question for you. Were you aware we had a master plan
I was not.
process?
No.
It was a 3-year process where we evaluated.
All I can respond to you on that is that I frequent the social media group. I see official reports from your office on a regular basis promoting your wins. I do not see things, wins, like you're talking about things the other day. Like,
Are you signed up to receive the town emails? Email blasts? Because that's how we communicate with the public. We don't do it via social media. So like, for example, public hearings, an email blast goes out letting anybody who has signed up to receive them, letting them know that there's public hearings. That's how we really.
The point that I want to
do our
make is that
communication.
this is 0.89 acre parcel on North Kensico Ave. It's a very large project.
So you're not.
I'm not signed up for it, but
Okay.
I do not believe that I need to be signed up
Okay.
to find out, when I live on Prospect Ave, to find out about this type of housing being proposed in our town. It's 34 units with an underground parking garage and 43 added spaces. I know all about it now.
34 units has not been approved.
Yeah, but you rubber stamped this project.
We did
It's
not
going to
rubber stamp
something,
anything.
you zoned it to be approved.
Excuse me.
So I just want to add, the fact is that the renderings, the 3D renderings that I've seen, photoshopping out our friends down the street, their houses in front of it, this is politics. This is transit-oriented politics, and I think this town is going to get a lot of funding when you sign up for it.
We did not sign up for it, nor did we agree with the governor.
Yeah, but you'll get certified for it once you start building more and more housing close to Metro North
I
train
didn't know
station.
that was the process.
You didn't know about that?
No.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because
So I didn't know about the email,
included.
but you didn't know about that, so, hey.
No.
That's all I have to
was
say.
against the governor on that.
comment.
Here we go.
Good evening, Dominic Vita. I'm not going to get combative. I did send an email earlier. I just wanted to comment on a couple of things regarding that law that just passed, the new code amendment that just passed, and Tom's comment about the 500 feet. Thank you for adding that. A zoning map amendment can affect more than adjoining property owners and those who live across the street. It can affect whole neighborhoods and change the nature of a whole community. It certainly can affect areas more than 500 feet. I apologize for the redundancies in the messaging, but I want you to understand you may want to consider for notices for zoning changes to really do an impact and see who's going to be impacted proportionally and send notice to all of those people. Smaller scale projects, fewer people, larger scale projects like this one, where whole communities and whole neighborhoods can change in character, you really should consider noticing everybody who could be affected, all of Valhalla in this case. Since this was a move of the Valhalla Hamlet zoning line, all of them should have received notice. All of them should have been here talking to you and hearing what you were going to do. I would suggest, and I'm just going to close with this, I would suggest that you consider changing this code one more time. Apologies for not speaking out last time about this, but consider changing it to include something along the lines of requiring a review of impacts, and if that review suggests proportionally that a lot of people are impacted, that you consider notice going out to all of those who could be impacted. Not just 500 feet and limiting it there, but expanding it if it's a project that needs that result. Thank you. And I would also add, and this is more for Darius's comment on history and Mr. Adler's comment, when I look back at the history of this, back in June, in 2024, when the town board sent this over to the planning board because they received the March application, the March 2024 application. They sent this over to the planning board for the planning board to refer back to the town board whether or not it should change the zoning. What the planning board did in their August meeting and then subsequent September meeting, if you look back to September 2024, what they did is they recommended it with a few conditions, one of which was creating a straight line up. Mr. Adler's house would be part of that. And Mr. Adler's point is correct, and I thank him for making that. Had he been part of that zone change with the planning board, I don't know if something got lost in translation when this one was sent back, but it's in the record, it's in the video, it's in the transcript. The planning board put a condition in there to make that line straight and not like a neck, and not bypassing those two homes that sit right below where this property is. So please look back, please check the record, please consider the change. And then in terms of those who showed up to reopen that, I think it's worth more consideration from this board. I understand you want to consider it closed, you're not going to change your mind. I would suggest you open your minds and suggest that people have something to say about this. It's their community too. Let them speak. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Sullivan. I live at 56 Cedar Street, Valhalla, which is directly southwest of the proposed project. I didn't come with anything prepared to say, but I just wanted to get something on the public record since this, deeply affects my property and my neighbors. First of all, I agree with Mr. Myers. He should have had the opportunity to decide whether he should have been in that zone or not. All right, so it's not a question of does he want to be in there now, but he should have had the opportunity. About 10 years ago, I had to put a deck on my house, add 3 feet to an existing deck. I had to proactively send all my neighbors notification and wait for their response. And again, this is 3 feet of an existing deck. I was never notified about the project up the hill. So think about the proportionality of that, right? There's a 34-unit proposed project. I was never notified. I was, there was nothing proactive. It was all seems to be passive notification. And yet for my deck to add 3 feet, I had to proactively notify my neighbors and wait for their response. So I think that that's completely out of proportion with what's happening here. There's all kinds of, what I see is, I haven't heard any positive, really, reasons for having this, this development, and yet tons of negative, I have tons of negative feelings about the situation. So I just wanted to put that on the record, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Peter Lenz. I live on 6 Lakeview at the other end of the hamlet from this proposed rezoning. I have a question for the board. Considering that we just completed relatively recently our town master plan that did not include this rezoning of this lot, is there anything, kind of work product or anything that indicates why that decision was not made and why it is appropriate to rezone this property now, especially considering that it is contrary to our existing master plan?
There was a recommendation from our planning consultant. We didn't know why it was left out initially.
What does the planning consultant say about why it was not left out?
He just said it should have been included, that's all.
Why?
I don't know, you can ask the planning consultant what.
Okay, how do I do that?
Come to the
What's
planning
that?
board meeting.
How do I do that?
Come to the planning board meeting.
Planning board meeting, the planning board meeting, you can ask those questions. When this topic comes up, you're welcome to ask all those questions.
Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening. My name is Russell Jonas. I live at 74 Madison Avenue. Thank you for the work you're doing for our community. I just want to make my concerns heard tonight. As most of us here tonight have expressed, we weren't aware of this project previously. So I'll just say what's on my mind now, and perhaps some of these will be addressed going forward, or maybe there's some answers here that I'm just not aware of. But there are some reasons that this project strikes me as objectionable. One is the inadequate public notice, where the approval process didn't reach the public. There were apparently procedural errors in the notification on the address as well. This would bring about an abrupt change in the character of the neighborhood from single families to multifamilies. The traffic and parking challenges that this poses seem significant. We already have a lot of dangerous intersections there going on to Broadway. This seems to be just exacerbating that. There's an additional strain on local infrastructure, like roads and schools and emergency services. Potential negative impact on property values. There was apparently a lack of genuine engagement with the community, it seems that there's setting a precedent for potential future overdevelopment. And there's a bit of an erosion in trust, I think, that accompanies that, and whether it was, it seems to have been inadvertent, but I would think that that's something you'd want to address. So going forward, I'd like to know, as someone mentioned before, the impact that there is potentially on the per unit assessments, how the increase in population might affect the tax base, and will that extend to funding of the schools? Will these be rental units where there's not as much of a tax base and less pride of ownership, which could also erode the school funding? So overall, just to summarize here, I'm interested in traffic, the noise pollution, light pollution, the tax base, and I'm asking for this to be, for the notification to go to the public, for this to be reopened in the zoning hearing, and to re-vote on this zoning issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Jim Russell from Hawthorne. I'm glad that the area was expanded for the notification, local law that you voted on this evening. But I also hope that that local law will be made retroactive to March 1st to include that hearing on March 11th that was had. And we need to have the whole process begun to have the people more involved. So to have the notification, please, then to reopen the hearing, and hopefully, based on the information that you receive, reconsider your vote on the rezoning. I think what Mr. Myers showed us this evening was that looks a lot like spot zoning. And that happens when a developer comes and the zoning is changed to accommodate him. And the other problem is that even with the new zoning plan that we have, there are problems because we were told that that's to protect these environmentally sensitive single-family home areas. And that's not happening with this. This area is not the downtown business area. This is in the single-family home area. So what we really need is a public information session where we can informally question the developer and the board, just like we did when we had the Kensico Tunnel project. We had a nice informal open session where people could be relaxed and ask questions of the developer and of the board so that we can get things straight before we embark on this major project. Thank you.
As you know well, the planning board process allows that.
Hello, Board. My name is Michael Marvin, owner of 44 Prospect Avenue. My wife and I moved here 8 years ago. We bought our dream house, new construction, overlooking the hill. I'm lucky enough to have an amazing view of a beautiful church and its people there. It's something my wife and I look out every day with our morning coffee and really appreciate just the incredible beauty of this town. Moving here has really changed our lives. We met incredible people in a wonderful neighborhood that we couldn't be more proud to be a part of. I think, to kind of echo what everyone's saying, what really is taking everyone aback is just the lack of transparency. It just feels like this was done overnight without anyone really knowing. I live probably 100 yards up the hill from this. I had no notice. I didn't find out about this until Mr. Jonas over there texted me the article in the Examiner on Saturday or Sunday of this week. We had no idea. We were really floored. Mr. Jonas and I went door to door yesterday, hand out flyers, talked to a lot of our neighbors. No one knew about it. I think that's the real issue here. And listen, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I would like to imagine that everyone would like to enhance property, enhance their property values. If there's a vacant property, we want to make it better. A 4-story, 36-unit apartment complex as proposed is not the answer. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Butchkova. I live right next to Marvin, so that's a good time that I'm taking. because I can repeat everything that he said. This is the view from my house.
I'm sorry, what street do you live on?
50 Prospect, next to Marvin. So I was fortunate enough to live in Hawaii before that. Yeah, this is the church right here. So I paid good money there and I paid good money here for the view of the house. I'm sure that's none of anybody's business what the view is. And I'm sure at the end of the day, it's going to be all about the money that is behind this. But here's my 2 cents in, that what hurts me the most, other than everything else said, is how you throw loosely terms like multi-family housing is all approved for the area, and so forth and so forth. The thing is, it's not a multi-family housing. Even me, a foreign speaker, I can tell that. This is a skyscraper for that area. Okay? Come visit my house. Come visit my house. Get the impression. Get the feeling of it. It's a skyscraper, I'm telling you. Nobody mentioned the street that goes right in front of it. I drive this street every day to work. It's a nice little winding street that you have to wait you have to do like a convoy, one car to cross the rivers to go. So you have to wait for each other to pass. It's not even a two-way street. I mean, it's such an inclination. I cannot imagine how an architect could ever imagine building such a big building on such a big inclination. You cannot even think it's not geometrically possible. And you say it's not approved for 36. Okay, is it approved for 26? Is 26 going to make a big difference? Yes, you're going to say, oh, we lowered the number. It's not going to make any difference. Any more than a 5 housing on that property, I can just not see it. I'm sorry, but it's just simple reasoning. Thank you.
Hello, Alexandra Glickman, 38 Cleveland Street. My property is going to be affected directly because this is the retaining wall of my house, and this is where this monster will grow. So it's going to be right above my house. The reason we moved to Valhalla 25 years ago, because of that area. It was a secluded area. It was in a village, proximity to the train station, and I work in New York City, so it was super convenient. And yet, it was secluded area. It was trees, and it was totally beautiful. Right next to us, there's a driveway, which is very steep. I don't know, maybe if you're familiar with Valhalla Village, you know that the Cleveland Street goes all the way up, and the driveway is right like this high steep. It was blocked at one point because the right away was too dangerous for the cars. But people occasionally, pedestrians, they use that right away. But living in this area for 25 years, I'm telling you, it's way too dangerous. And although it was the property of the town, and it was supposed to be clean and adopted by highway department, they stopped doing it because the reason the highway department gave me is that it was too dangerous for the workers and cleaning crew to work in that area. So I don't know how you're going to have this multifamily house or building or skyscraper, you know, as you said, because it's going to definitely block everything, you know, the views and everything. But how people are going to travel or walk down the street on that very steep and very dangerous right away down to the train station, let's say, or to the village. You know, if that was the reason of building this complex, because it's very close to the train station. But I don't know how people were going to use that driveway, and especially during the winter time, when it's very slippery, when it's very, very dangerous. And again, I would like to remind you, because we very much appreciate what you do for our community, but I would like to remind that you work for us. And we here are very much concerned how this project will affect us, who already live here, in opposed to what potentially bring to our community. And I'm sure that people here will agree with me that it's not going to be good impact to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Donna Babick, 137 Prospect Avenue. I want to thank you for making the changes to the notification system that we're going to have. I heard Tom say that they're going to make it stronger based on some of the things that they heard through the emails and people's concerns. And I think that's a great thing. But what it also says to me is that how this change in zoning went was very weak to begin with. So maybe we really just need to open this up, re-look at it, take into consideration all the things that all the people here today are saying. It's not a fit. It's not a good fit for our community. It's not a good fit. And we don't want this. And I know you keep saying we have to go to the planning board, but if the zoning wasn't changed, the planning board could do more for us. And the way it is now, the planning board, you're tying their hands. So my question is it the developers that you're looking after, or is it the community that you're looking after? Because it doesn't feel like we're being heard.
Just as a point, that all the years that I've been involved, there's always been tweaks and adjustments to different codes and zoning, whatever it is. Nothing is ever perfect. You make adjustments along the way. And we try to do the best we can to represent, excuse me?
We're asking for a tweak and an adjustment, something we don't agree with. So,
That's what I'm doing,
okay.
okay? That's why we made adjustments to the code. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Why are you so hard set? Why are you so hard set on the zoning?
Excuse me, come to the mic, please.
What?
No back and forth.
No.
Why are you so hard set on the zoning? I have not heard one reason. Why are you so hard set from going from single family to 34 unit mega project?
Do you think we just started looking at this project?
It sure sounds like it. Nobody knows about this.
It's been over a year and a half.
You said 3 years. No, why don't we know
It's
it?
the master plan.
Nobody
It was
knows
past
about this.
3 years.
But why do you guys, the town board, think that this is a good project for our community? I do not understand. All I'm hearing is rubber stamp and that you guys can
I
just
would
say,
stop saying rubber stamp, all
you're
right?
kicking the can to the planning board.
Yeah,
Yes, you are.
Because
Exactly.
that's their job.
That's their job.
That's your job, so your job is to rubber stamp projects and kick it to the planning board.
Forget it.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It all makes sense, don't talk.
Good evening, I'm Val Panzik in Valhalla. I think what we're losing in translation here is the developer purchased that property, right? You guys approved the development.
No,
No?
You did not?
no,
No.
You approved the zoning.
yes.
Okay, so make us understand why this proposed 34-unit project is going to be given to the planning board,
So that they could review it.
so they can
See
review
what
it.
works best for that property.
So you didn't approve the 34-unit property?
Not part of our job.
No, we've said it
Not our
a
job.
dozen
We don't
times
do that.
today.
That's why we have a planning
Okay,
board.
so,
That's what the planning board is for.
so the developer went in there with the intentions of building the biggest unit that he could possibly build within your code that you approved, correct?
That's his conceptual drawing of a plan.
That's his conceptual drawing. So all we're asking is one thing. They are developer. They purchased the property. You know, if we had conglomeration here where we all collectively collected amount of money and bought that out, we could do the same thing. We could build whatever we want. We're asking that
No,
they
you
keep,
can't.
we're asking that they keep the character of this community. If they want to build something there, that's their prerogative, but it should be more in line with what is currently in the field, right? So, looking at the plan, I was here after the March 11th meeting, and there was only a select few of us here. Looking at the plan, Cleveland Street is nowhere in the traffic pattern. In their plan, there's nothing about traffic pattern. There's North Kensico, there's Westlake, there's Broadway. Do you guys realize that there's an entrance on Cleveland Street on that property? Are they going to utilize that?
No.
They're
They
not?
got rid of that.
Excuse me?
None of that rendering is not final. And when a builder goes in front of a planning board, I've been in construction 24 years, they go asking for everything that they want, right? And then it gets knocked down because they know you don't ever go in front of a planning board once. You go, and there has to be changes. You go, there has to be changes. So yes, they're going with a 34-unit proposal. It doesn't mean it's going to get approved. All of that gets worked out there at the planning board. We don't get involved in that. That's why we have a planning board. So the road that you're talking about that goes onto Cleveland, I thought they were considering not having that.
No, not going to be
So
used at
that's
all.
not,
No,
that
it's-
rendering
it's
is not, that's their conceptual. It's not approved. It's
But
going to be
it's shown to
changed.
be utilized in their plan.
I think in their very first, again, they came to us over a
Irregardless if
year
it's their
ago.
first, second, or third, it's shown to be utilized.
Well, if it's shown, then I agree with you. There should be a study done on Cleveland, and that'll all shake out in the planning board.
So,
None of the recent drawings show Cleveland Street being used.
Right. I think there's a change
I
there.
mean, I'm trying to get my head around this. You guys are saying that you approved the rezoning, but just because you approved the rezoning, any developer can go in there and give whatever proposal they want to give, has to be approved by planning board.
That's
correct?
every development in this town.
Okay, so what's the likelihood of this plan not going through?
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's
I mean-
possible. I mean, from previous experiences in this area, because we've heard of locations over in Hawthorne where they had issues also with excessive development and within
Where's
the Mount
that?
Pleasant area.
What excessive development in Hawthorne?
Just, there was some items in the Valhalla Families portal where they were saying that they also have some issues with overdevelopment as well. So,
I'm not
There was
aware.
to our
one
point,
building there.
we just want to make sure that you guys understand where we're coming from.
We very
I mean,
clearly understand.
This gentleman who lives on Prospect just down the road from me and the other gentleman, they're overlooking this monstrosity. Would you like to look at that? Any one of you? Yes or no? It's a
Do you
simple
like the
question.
condition?
Right, he said no.
Do you like the condition of what's there?
Excuse me? No, I don't.
It's a dilapidated property,
That's,
not maintained.
but that's going, you're sidebarring this now. You're really sidebarring this by saying.
I just asked a
Either you
question.
either you're gonna say the 34 unit is nicer than the existing conditions there, that's fine. If they want to build 2, 4, 6 duplexes there, that's more in line with what we should have in this community. But to have a 34 unit, I mean,
That may end up being the case.
but the planning board is going by what you're saying. They're going to say, the town board approved it, we have to look at this.
The zoning isn't just for an apartment building. If you look up the Valhalla Hamlet zoning, it allows multiple different things. So including, I think, a two-family, I don't have it pulled up now, but it's, the Valhalla Hamlet's not just a multifamily, you know what I mean? It allows for other developments, and again, that all gets shaken out at
So there's no
planning.
side yard or backyard restrictions like what I had to do when I had to redo my
Oh,
house?
of course there are. Every
There
every
is?
yeah,
So
every
this-
property
This young
there
lady
is.
over here said that her house is here, the development's going to be here. So
We don't
So
know
what does
where
that
it's
mean?
gonna
Does that
be.
mean 5 feet? Does that mean 50 feet? I mean, it's, how do you know? Did a surveyor come out and stake out the properties? We don't know. Nothing's
they?
been
And
approved.
Danielle, there's certain things, the planning process will have to play itself out. There are
Right.
certain requirements under the zoning code. They come in and say, this is what I want to build. If they feel that this building is towering over another piece of property inappropriately, it gets reduced all the time.
Who's they?
The planning.
planning board.
Still the planning board. I'm talking about the planning board. There'll still be a site plan application, there'll be a traffic study, there'll be an analysis of light, there'll be analysis of air, there'll be analysis of school impacts, there'll be analysis of how big, how many units, density, stormwater runoff, all that will be analyzed, all of it.
So
In
at the,
detail.
so at the planning board, do we have the opportunity to address them the way we're addressing you now?
There will be a public hearing.
Yes?
Yep.
Maybe a little nicer, but yes.
Okay.
You can talk to the planning board. There'll be multiple public
While the
hearings,
developer's here.
multiple comments. While there's a plan up on the screen that you can view, you can say it's too big here, it's too big there. Shouldn't be 34 units. It should be multifamily townhouses, like are directly up the street where there's 27 townhouses, I believe. There could be something that's less on height. There's, all that gets done every day at the planning board.
I'll give an example too. The Toll Brothers development that's going to be happening in Mount Pleasant. That initially started with a different developer. It fell apart in the planning board phase, but I wasn't on the board. I was standing where you were standing, addressing them about my concern about school children. I said, this is crazy, and they all agreed. I didn't know they had agreed at the time, but they ended up, the planning board, right, everything changed, and it turned into a senior 55 and over as to not impact the schools. But initially, when the project came to be, everybody thought it was
It's
going to
like
be.
175
Yeah,
single-family
it got-
homes.
It got trimmed down, so I think that, I do think that it's not that anybody up here is being disingenuous with you and saying that it can and will, it may, the developer might go bankrupt next week, it may not happen. I mean, there's nothing's written in stone. I know that doesn't apply to what we're doing, but at the end of the day, there's a lot that could still change with that development, and I've seen it happen with other developments. You asked that, the reason I'm saying this is because you had asked that earlier, have you ever seen it happen?
Look, we're not trying to attack you, I don't think. A lot of people here just found out this weekend, and they're frustrated. And you can understand that. I mean, you got to have a little empathy, too.
I'm
I mean,
surprised people
I know a
are
lot
not
of you
aware.
guys do live in Valhalla. I came here 15 years ago, all right? I came from Brooklyn, so my world changed completely, and thank God my kids are where they are. It's a great district, it's a great community, it's great people, and we want to keep it that way. And just to be thinking that someone can walk over, not you per se, but to come in here and say, yeah, we're going to build this behemoth. This is not, this is not Bronxville. This is not Pelham. This is Valhalla.
And it's
That's-
not the process.
Right, okay, well, if you're saying that we can go to the planning board meeting and address them in this same matter,
Yes.
right? And you're suggesting that they might overturn their
Not overturn,
proposal.
you modify the proposal. Like trustee, town board member Saraceno said, when the initial Baker project came in for the Legion property, it was hundreds of, I think it was 100 and something units of single-family homes. That got pared down. It got areas that were not be able to build on down to 70, I think, one single-family homes. That didn't work either, ultimately, at the end of the day, for everybody. And then Toll Brothers came in and had these over 55, 160, over 55 to not impact the schools. So that's how the process works. Sometimes this takes 6 months, a year and a half to analyze this and pare down the projects. Usually they come and want to build everything as much as they can and see what happens. The public should be there, comment on it, but the planning board does its job too.
So in a nutshell, I understand what you're saying, but essentially you guys are set with what you did on March 11th, and that's not going to be reopened. Are you suggesting that? Okay.
Thank you.
I think that's why we're here, though. We're asking for it to be reopened.
Come back to the mic, please, if you have more comments.
I think we're losing the spirit of this. We're requesting for it to be reopened.
No, we understand
This
that.
was done- And also, it's so alarming and so disturbing that now you're putting the onus on the planning board.
That's their
That's
job.
the process.
No,
That's how
no,
every
but you've
municipality
okayed it.
works.
You've okayed the
No,
zoning to
no.
be changed.
We've okayed the
And
zoning,
why,
and that's
why?
why.
Why would we have this simple little construction there to have the potential? The windows, the doors have been opened for the potential now. Before, the zoning was as it was. You couldn't do anything about it. But now suddenly it's been opened up. And it's going to be very hard to close those doors. So we're asking for this to go back and for the community to be able to have a voice in this. You were voted in to represent us. So that is what we're asking for. You're representing us. We're not happy. We're not happy. And there's so many dozens and dozens of people who are not here because guess what? They never knew. They never knew all of this had been going on. So please don't pass the onus like, oh, it's not us, and who knows, maybe it'll be turned into something else. But that makes it seem like we're powerless. Like, oh, maybe it'll unfold. Maybe they'll go out of business. Come on, that's ridiculous.
You see that, I never said out of business, first of all.
Well, someone said
said
something
so.
made me build
So
it.
the issue here, though,
It means that we have
does
no-
everyone know that directly contiguous, there were 60, I believe, properties that were rezoned to Hamlet zoning? That went on for 3 years with how many public hearings? 400 people were at different workshops to change this area, directly contiguous, right next to your house, to Hamlet zoning, for 3 years. There's
Right.
videos on the website of meetings, and there's workshops. Mr. Russell was at these workshops. Everyone was there.
Can you let him finish speaking, please? You had your turn. He's talking now.
So that went on, I don't know if you were aware of that. Were you aware of that? For 3 years that happened? So then, what
Why do
happened
we have
was,
to do it again?
the owner of this property said, I'm directly contiguous to this, you didn't come in, and said, hey, this property should be Hamlet zoning too, because 2 properties away is a multifamily housing project. Down the street, there's multifamily housing. This is walkable to the train. I want to be in that too. So what did this board do? In June of '24, they listened, it was in the newspaper, and this board said, well, we want to know what the planning board says. We want to know what our planner says, because that's their expertise. And both the planner and the planning board said, we agree this should be rezoned. So then, it came back to this board, it was publicly noticed, it was in the newspaper, it was in our website, it was on the board here, public notice. There wasn't a sign there, and there wasn't notice to the next door neighbor.
It should be.
But
Should
did you
have
know
been.
about, sir, the rezoning of the entire hamlet, right next to you?
Yeah, I had,
70 properties?
If you're asking me and I can speak now, then yes, I had, and as you said, there were 400 people notified for that, whereas there were.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was 400 people, no, 400
Yeah.
people
Okay.
came to the
No.
meetings
Right.
because they wanted this to
Okay,
happen.
There was
Two different
workshops
issues.
to help
The
rewrite
process-
zoning.
The process is not
That's what
correct.
happened. To say that
Right.
this was all of a sudden, one day said, we're going to rezone this.
Well, the process
That didn't happen.
did not happen. The process did not happen in terms of everyone being notified of this review, of this possibility. Registered letters, as someone else said here, Kevin Sullivan, when he had to extend a deck by 3 feet, everyone had to be notified by
State
registered.
law mandates
Now,
variances,
there's
6 feet
people,
notified. That's a
there's, and
That's a
also
variance,
the,
that's different.
the
Yes.
egress here, well, this is even huger. This is huger impact than 3 feet of deck that no one will ever see, except for him.
I think the board heard that you want it
Yes,
to be retroactive
And-
on
and
the
I
notice.
think the board
And
is
you
very-
don't like the law to
Oh,
be changed,
no, no,
right?
we're all here to say we need to relook at it because something was overlooked.
get that.
To have people, I know, but I just have to restate it because it's really, I can't believe that you actually didn't walk there to see and look at the study and see what you were approving to be changed.
We told you we've all gone to the site. We've all
Okay,
been to the
except for the
site.
property that was right there that was skewed in the photograph. So that was totally overlooked.
Could see the property.
This gentleman's house was totally overlooked.
I've never heard of rezoning a property without the owner of the property asking for it to be rezoned, besides updating our code 3
Right.
years ago, which was
I think what we're
from
trying
the
to say, you have
70s.
people here who are very surprised people here who are very unhappy, and we would like it to go back, to be reopened and re-examined. This is a huge potential for a huge impact on us. And it doesn't matter if you say, well, maybe, it starts at this, it'll go down to this. We have no assurance of that. We have no assurance at all. And the person who bought this property did have the assurance that he would be approved in this being rezoned, or they would not have bought it.
The board felt, this town board felt
Yeah.
that property should be in the Hamlet zone. That's what they did. I disagree.
I'm just asking questions today. I already had my anger when I first found out back on the 11th, so I understand where you guys are coming from. I had a question before, which was how did that not get, so we did that
I
one.
think it's confusing a little bit with the map. It kind of, when you look at the map, it's like right there. And if you look at it online, actually on the Westchester map, it's hard to tell that your property's not. It's hard to tell your property and the one directly down from it are not. And in the comp plans, I think that's what the supervisor's issue was. He actually thought it was included already in the Valhalla zone, but it's actually the back side of your house, right behind you. That property is rezoned into the Hamlet zone 3 years ago.
Okay.
Directly contiguous to you.
Yes, and that didn't concern me at the
Catty
time because it
corner.
didn't surround me on three sides and exclude me. But that's not my question right now. I get what you're saying about the planning board. This is just a simple question because I'm still learning about towns. I went to your site that said elected and appointed officials, and unfortunately, it doesn't list the planning board. Is that elected or is that appointed?
That's
appointed.
Okay, so I'm sorry that everybody's being loud with you, but probably that's wise because we have no recourse with them. Thank you.
You do.
Hi, so this, ignoring the proposed project that has been brought forth so far, and the understanding that it's a potential of what could happen. The rezoning here is a statement by the board that you want to change the nature of this lot. It is currently, I believe, or was previously zoned R10, and the intention is, or it has now been rezoned to Valhalla Hamlet. What is the delta of what is allowed under R10 versus what is allowed under Valhalla Hamlet? That is the board stating, this is what we want to change here. So let's understand, what is the potential to change here?
I'll go back to Mr. Shefazada, please. Can you just repeat what you said earlier in the evening? PRDT 7 zoning has been multifamily zoning in that area since 1990s. Is that correct, sir?
The PRDT zone, I think, was changed in 1990 that allowed for the development, I believe it's 27 units. I'm not sure exact number. That's just a rough count to allow for multifamily housing and as much as up to 30-something units if there were affordable housing there. I don't think they went that high when they built that. So the thought process was, there's multifamily housing there. Here's a property that hasn't been built on for years. I know there's a church there. I just drove by. It's a little unkept, the area. There's your house right down from it. And then the whole area for 3 years was discussed about a rezoning, right here, right contiguous to it. So everyone says, yeah, that'd be a good idea. This property hasn't been redeveloped and done anything for in 40 years. It doesn't look that sightly. I just drove by 5 minutes ago. And the board thought, it's a good idea. So let's send it to the planning board. Let's change it. Yes, they agree. Let's change it. So did the planner. So then they recommended it to you. And these guys thought it was a good idea too, to change that to allow for the multifamily zoning. That was their decision. I think everyone doesn't agree with it in this room. Others don't agree with the comp plan. One of the people didn't agree with the comp plan at all for changing any zoning. But zoning needs to live. I think that's the thought process, that this is a walkable to the village of the hamlet of Valhalla. It's walkable to the train. The property is under kept, and that maybe there'll be a nice new development there that the planning board can make in a nice way that will make it good for everybody. Everyone seen, probably in 1990 when those houses were built on the PRDT zone 7, probably the same thing happened. Everyone came to this board and said, no, don't do it. But now it's okay. I'm not sure. This probably has zero to do with politics. What this is the town board controlling its own zoning to redevelop areas to ensure that there's a tax base for the whole of the town, to make sure that there's proper development and to scale, which will happen by the planning board. That's why there is a planning board. It has nothing to do with politics. It doesn't, I mean, I know these guys are not following, let's build 10 stories high in Valhalla and single-family zones. What it is an area that's directly contiguous to the Valhalla Hamlet zone. You can say it's politics, you can disagree. Okay, that's fine. You disagree with them.
The church has been there for 100 years. Why all of a sudden now?
It wasn't for sale. It wasn't for sale.
I don't know if they owned it before or not. I don't know how long they've owned it for. I have no idea. But that's the thought process. You may disagree, and people disagree. But that's what the majority of the board felt on a 4-to-1 vote to I think it was 4-to-1, to rezone it. That's what they felt. You can disagree, and I think everyone knows you disagree. The 30 people in here disagree. That's fair.
why we now informed,
No.
How many people here were aware, I'm not trying to test anyone, how are you aware of the rezoning of the hamlet?
from my neighbor.
Did
Three
anyone
people.
read
people.
it?
Three.
There had to have been 50 notices gone out on that.
That was a
Public
4-year
hearings, there were
process.
400 people in the community center. There's a video online. So do you guys like the fact that the Valhalla Hamlet was changed to Valhalla Hamlet zoning? It wasn't Valhalla Hamlet zoning before. For 3 years it was discussed.
It should remain single family at that property. There's no reason.
So down, and what about, I guess the question is down the street. They felt that down the.
We're talking about 75 North Kensico Ave.
Thanks. Oh, we are, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't realize. So you have, what's the other address here? So you have, addresses don't come up, but all along North Kensico Avenue, save a few properties, is zoned similar to this property. All of it.
It's zoning.
Can I ask one question? Did you say it's multifamily there now? How many in multifamily is it? 2? Is it 3? Like, what do you say?
There's a definition in the code, I don't know what it says.
But I mean,
More than 3, I think it is.
is it more than 3?
I believe that the zoning says more than 3. But the PRDT is 27 homes, I think, or 25 homes, I forget the number, but, right there.
The townhouses on Lakeside, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are single-family homes.
They're
those are
considered,
attached homes.
they're considered multifamily though.
I'm asking, you said, it's already a multifamily zone, and I go up and down that street a lot, I know a couple of houses are 2-family houses, I'm not sure if there's any I don't think there's any 4-family houses, that's what I'm asking. So,
And
it's
the-
different, to say it's multifamily, and it's a 2-family or 3-family compared to a 34-family.
I forget the number of houses in Valhalla, of properties in Valhalla, I think it's 70, were rezoned Hamlet zoning, just like this, which would allow for different uses. It could be the post office is down there, commercial buildings, multifamily use, depending on the size of your property. All the way up to the exact contiguous property to this one, save the one gentleman's property. Every one.
Right, so that's like.
So maybe you don't like that too, I don't know, but.
No, actually, that was what I said the first time I came here, when I heard about this. I think we need several duplexes in that area. That would serve us more than this, 34.
And maybe that's what the planning board would like them to do.
Hopefully, but.
I don't know if it works for them and the.
I'm just saying, like, you're talking about, we're already in a multifamily zone, and I'm asking, what is, how many?
It's in the code, it says 3 or more families. I believe that's what it says.
So, I don't know, I go up and down the street all the time,
But-
I don't see.
Mrs. Babick, if I can just interject, because I am a longtime Valhalla resident. Right next to the post office, which is actually, would be back to back, there are two structures that are multifamilies. There is an old apartment building there with, I believe, 4, and then there are attached homes.
Yes.
And we also have the Lakeside development, which you can determine it's single-family homes, but most of them are attached homes.
But they're not.
Well, they are attached homes.
They're not attached, and I do know with the multifamilies that
So
you're
there
talking about near the post office.
Yes, there are
We're not talking
multifamily
about
homes
the ones-
in that zone.
Where are the multifamily for, for apartment, multifamilies?
The zone
Next to
encompasses more
75
than
feet.
just, the zone encompasses more than just
I
75 North
understand that,
Kensington.
but we're just concerned about this one little parcel. Because the zoning was changed on this one little parcel, this is able to have this. And we're saying,
It could happen right next door too.
Right.
Right,
It could, yeah.
contiguous, it could happen. Because 3 years ago, after 3 years of analysis, 70 properties were rezoned to Valhalla Hamlet zoning. And now this one was. So 70 properties, right where you guys all live, for 3 years, this was analyzed. 400 people were at the community center, you can watch it on video, where they suggested this.
But not the magnitude of what we're talking about.
Well, it's the
now.
size of what they're proposing. Someone could buy a piece of property in the hamlet in downtown Valhalla, or in Hawthorne, or in Thornwood, and say, I want to build as much as I could build. Right? And what would they do? They would go to the planning board. The planning board would analyze the plan and say, we like it or we don't like it. Do you have the parking? Do you have the stormwater? Is it towering over someone's home? We don't want that. We want it smaller. We want less units. We want separate units. You don't know what they're going to say. That's what they do. That's what they do. For every twice a month, everyone says, I want to put this, build my house like this. I want to build my deck like this. I want to build my development like this. And planning boards are known to say no. Everyone complains about the planning board every time. Every community in Westchester, the planning board won't let me do what I want to do. So the point is, they thought it was a good zone change, 4-1 did. And now the planning board has to do its job. I think everybody understands you don't like the rezone. You probably don't like the Valhalla Hamlet rezone. I know Mr. Russell doesn't like the Valhalla rezone. He complained about it for 2 years at the microphone. But
And look what happened.
what happened?
It continues. But
Well, the point is,
What has been built?
their thought process, and the entire town, or at least a lot of the town, felt that these downtown areas should have more density, right? That's what the thought process was. Whether you say it's politics or not, the stores are empty, the pizzeria went under, the deli went under, there's new people coming in. So the thought process is, the thought process on zoning is, let's have a little more density. Let people build over their stores. What's that?
How does that add more parking by adding the
There's not parking. The
parking?
thought process is that people that could walk to the train, this is the general thought process of zoning that's happened everywhere in Westchester County. Whether it's Pelham, whether it's Hawthorne, whether it's Briarcliff, whether it's wherever it is, everybody's doing it, right? They didn't redo their master plan for 50 years in the town. This board wanted to do that because they thought it needed to be done. And people applauded it. People said, let's have more density.
That planning board zone that came out without making this additional change? Why don't we stick to the plan that you have?
So the thought process was, and I'm sorry I'm talking so much here, but
That's
the
okay.
thought process of zoning was, this area should be, right? So this guy buys right here and says, you know what, I should be part of that too. So they didn't say anything. They said, planning board, what do you think? Professional planner for 30 years in the town, what do you think? And they both said, that's a good idea. So they then agreed. That's what happened globally. I don't think there's politics involved. I think this thought process of this board, we need to make sure our downtowns have businesses and stores that are successful. We need to make sure that our downtowns are vibrant. People want to say, why is our downtown not vibrant? Why are there no stores? Why can't I walk? People say about parking, that I usually don't have a problem with Valhalla, but I know others may. But the parking, if there's a parking lot that can be developed, I know in downtown Hawthorne, we're trying to build a municipal parking lot. Things are thought about. It's more global. It's not boom. There's a thought process here that went on for years about this entire area, and this little piece was not included, that everyone said put it in on the professional levels from the town.
And that's what we're objecting to.
I think.
So Darius, can I interrupt? I'm sorry, Mr. Vita has been standing here patiently to speak. So instead of this back and forth, and then people at home really can't hear or see who's speaking.
I appreciate the input, Darius, and actually just had a comment. And I actually like that a lot of the history was covered. The problem, though, and I mentioned this on March 11th to you, Tom, and because you have planning board experience, the problem is when you've extended the comprehensive plan where 3 years were spent on a certain demarcated area that did not include this area, you did not discuss impacts for this area as part of that. So the stakeholders who were part of that discussion in Valhalla, who got together and said, yes, let's draw this line and let's make a concerted effort to improve this area, did not include that old church that's been there for a very long time and the property and the condition that it was in. So I think it was a fair point on March 11th, and I think it's a fair point today that several people echoed. This was not part of that discussion and should be reopened for further consideration. However, I thought it was a great plan, and I thought the zoning needed to be sort of looked at separately, because as has been done in other areas like Hawthorne where I live, places get rezoned, to Ms. Zano's point. They get rezoned all the time, but when they are, the stakeholders are brought in before the planning board to discuss those changes. Here, there could be a path, Darius, correct me if I'm wrong, this came up during the last meeting, that a question was raised and you were going to look into it. There is a path under the comprehensive plan, and I mentioned this on March 11th, Tom, where this could be fast-tracked, where they can meet in private without the public's input to discuss with the planning board, page 80 of the comprehensive plan, folks.
Yeah, I read it.
I looked it up
I read
after
it
you
today.
said that this type of project cannot be fast-tracked.
That is a wonderful silver lining, Ms. Zano. Thank you for bringing that up, and
We
Mr.
all
Fulgenzi.
researched that,
I
yes.
think it's important then for the public to show up to those planning board meetings, hold their feet to the fire on this particular project to make sure, because the planning board, while they're appointed, they do have the right to say no. We need to make sure that if this doesn't fit, they say no. Thanks.
Thank you.
Want to move on?
Yeah, let's move, can we move on?
I think we should move on.
I think we
Just
should move on.
last speaker.
Is this a new topic?
No, the exact same topic. I really.
We
think
heard
it's-
it all. We
I think
already
it's
heard it.
unfair to put people's hope in the planning board, because the planner stood here and he said, the planner for the developer, he said, right where I'm standing, he said, this is zoning compliant. He worked with Patrick Cleary. Patrick Cleary is the planner. Patrick Cleary was very happy. If you look at the video for the planning board from last November, the chairman of the planning board and Patrick Cleary had a nice
To disparage Patrick.
off the record smile about this is the first time this has been implemented. The planning board is very unlikely to make any change, or if they're not forced to, and this is being done compliant. Everything is already compliant. So there's only one solution, and that solution is to stop the rezoning. That doesn't hurt the developer that much. He can actually put 1 or 2 nice homes there. He could comply with actually this new zoning, new comprehensive plan, where it says in 5-1.4, consider certain appropriate areas immediately surrounding the hamlets to provide transitional zones where 2-family homes would be permitted. So that's the type of thing that could be done. And also, they can get, even if it's with the existing zoning, they can go the traditional way and try and get variances for it. It's just a little harder thing to do, but the only resolution that's safe for the residents of this area is for this board to listen to the people. 99% of the people do not want this to be rezoned.
We listen to 45,000 people, okay? Our judgments are based on not just a small group of people, not that this is a small group, but our judgments are not just based on what we just may feel. We have to think about the whole of everything. And I know you personally would never like to see an apartment building in town. I know that for a fact.
Well,
I know your history.
don't put words into my mouth either.
No, I read your words, so I know what you think, okay? So don't make it sound like you would love to see multifamily, because you're against it.
Where's all the
over
people?
town.
Where's all the people that you're talking about who are in favor of this? Besides the developer, where are they?
I don't think that everything that we've done in this town was horrible, okay? We tried very hard to make improvements throughout this town, okay, including Valhalla. We're working on Hawthorne right now. Valhalla is next. So please don't make it sound like we ignore different parts of the town.
I'm just focusing on this one issue here.
I
this
know you
rezoning.
are. I've heard you for
And I
2
really
months,
think, why would
and
you
I'm
be
done.
so intransigent?
Carl, if I may, one thing too, from the planning board's perspective, they will look at safety. I know someone said about traffic safety coming in and out. Just recently, by one of the houses in Hawthorne, they wanted to put a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts, and the planning board said no, because it was unsafe. They sued, and we won. So the planning board looks at things very carefully. If something is unsafe coming in and out of their number of cars, trips, they will say no, they do. Whether the planner likes it or he thinks the planner is looking at the developer. I've talked to the developer before and said, listen, this is a big project. I think you need to make it smaller. That's been already a discussion I've had with him. And I think they better come in with something reasonable, in my estimation, because the traffic will be looked at, but my point is the traffic will be looked at very closely. I think you know what they're saying, the audience, and, you know, you're listening,
Are there
obviously.
plans for the dam to be reopened?
No.
I don't think that's ever been,
Never.
Oh, well,
from what we understand.
Anyone who lives
Yeah,
here.
before there used to be a lot of traffic. I used to go across that dam to North Castle, to Armonk all the time. That traffic was bad back then. Now it's a lot less, which is nice for the neighborhood.
If you remember clearly, Mr. Shefazada, I forgot your name, Carl, Fulgenzi and all, when I first began on the board, it was a time after 9/11. And we did go to even Mayor Bloomberg, and then the county executive, Rob Astorino. There were actually public meetings and there were actually press conferences with television coverage on top of the dam. And we have been told that absolutely not, and that is by the federal government, that that dam will never be reopened. There is nothing that we can do about it. It's something that we've all in Valhalla had to accept and live with. We understand the traffic. We understand your issues. We also understand from a different group of people, and that is a younger population, and maybe an older population, my age, a little bit older, the need for an alternative to single-family homes that allow families and young professionals to live within our community. And when we're looking at that, we're looking at the whole of a community. We can't just cater to those of us who at this time have been fortunate to own a single-family home. We'd like to be able to have younger people remain in town. I myself have 3 adults, young adults. I actually see one of the young adults' friends sitting here in the audience. It is difficult. It is very difficult for young people to scratch the surface and own a home in Westchester County, and maybe even in Mount Pleasant, although many people consider us to be financially in the middle of the housing market here in Westchester. Not as expensive as some areas and not as inexpensive as more urban areas. We have a large senior population. One thing we pride ourselves on is that we are intergenerational, multi-generational, and we would like to keep it that way. Our responsibility is for the total population of Mount Pleasant. I thank you on behalf of myself, being a Valhalla resident, who actually moved down here from Pleasantville, and as you know, they're having their own difficulties with building. I look to whatever we decide in the next few months. However, the process has to play out, and it's been very clear this evening that you're not in favor, but it's also been very clear that we know the planning board has very good people on it, very experienced people, and they will look at it. I ask you to please bring educated questions to them, and I believe someone said, was it Mr. Panzik? I don't remember who said with a little less hostility, or maybe it was Mr. Vida. They're residents too. They are appointed. They work very hard. Please bring those nice questions to them. They will help you. They will help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's somewhat misleading to suggest that there's a lot of young people who want to move into this apartment, or a lot of seniors who want to move into the building that's on a huge slope there.
Mr. Russell, that was my opinion, and that is from my experience as an elected official in town. Many people know me, and I hear from many people. I appreciate your comments always, Mr. Russell, but I'm going to ask the supervisor if we can please end this portion of the meeting. We do have other work to do, and I'd actually like to request a 2-minute recess.
And I would ask that you, during that recess, you consider reopening the hearing.
No.
We can't meet in private, you know that.
2-minute recess?
5-minute recess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
You got nothing better to do? One-
I'm on the email list, but I don't, maybe there's more than one.
For the email blasts, you mean?
I'm sorry?
You want the Mount Pleasant site?
Like the town emails that go out?
Yes.
You,
I think I did one. It talks about the taxes too.
And then there's the area to sign up too.
yeah, it's on the website. I could probably
I think it's a,
The point is, it should be two-family homes, three-family homes.
that's what they said too.
And the point is that.
That's what they said too, but we'll let them conduct their meeting.
We have to get back to the,
Okay, have a good evening.
we'll get back to Emily and our town clerk's report.
Thank you very much. Town Clerk's Report, Town Board Meeting, May 13th, 2025. Received and filed the Thornwood Fire District oaths of office for the following: Thomas Olson, Chief; Matthew Carroll, First Assistant Chief. Received and filed one Planning Board Resolution, 399 Old Sleepy Hollow Road Subdivision, and three Zoning Board Resolutions: Joseph and Veronica Costanza, 8 Foster Place; Timothy Shaddy, 201 Madison Avenue; and NYC DEP at Westlake Drive. And that's
Thank
it.
you. Moving on to our council reports. Councilman Siciliano,
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report is the Controller's Memo, stated 5/13/2024. The following claims are submitted for Town Board approval. From the category of Justice Court, Blue 360 of Media, LLC, $817.70. From the category of Attorney, Bleakley, Platt and Schmidt, LLP, $1,804.68. Bond, Shonick and King, PLLC, $731.50. From the firm of Paris Beach, PLLC, $26,181. Central Mailing, JT Graphics, $6,510.23. In the category of off-street parking, Mid-Westchester Lawn Services Incorporated, $1,000. From Public Safety, Corsi Tire, New York City Incorporated, $2,178.28. From Zalowski's Automobile, $12,871. The total for public safety is $15,049.24. From the category Parks, here's Gary Mosca and Son, $1,500. Leonard Marone, $1,750. Infield Work, Virginia Road, $1,750. Security Fence System, Stonegate, $1,500. The total is $6,500 for the category Parks. From Adult Programs, AR Sports of New York, LLC, $2,079.54. USSA Westchester Umpires, $1,775. Again, the same category for the adult softball, USSA Westchester Officials, $2,250. For that category, $6,104.54. From the category Pool, Sarah Anna Pollen, LLC, $1,500. From Youth Program, Scott Dooley, $3,780. From General Repairs, Civic Plus Incorporated, $9,183.83. Same category, General Repairs. Peckham Industries, $1,072.37. $2,656.50. For General Repairs, the total is $12,912.70. From the category of Highway Machinery, Tire Buys Incorporated, $1,636. Dismount of tires for HD Trucks, $3,557. Tyrus Incorporated for some gasket pipe seals, $2,316.57. The total for highway machinery is $7,509.57. From the category of highway snow removal, winter equipment, $3,392.95. From Capital Building Improvement, Aquaworks Incorporated. This is Phase 3 asbestos water main replacement, Old Farm Hill. This is a bonded project, $393,088.19. Same category from capital building, replacement of water main, Bear Ridge Road, Old Farm. Again, this is a bond, $370,164.09. The total for that category is $363,252.28. From Highway General Capital Project, Charles A. Magnanaro, $18,975. From Capital Old Farm Hill Water, Aquaworks Incorporated. Again, this is Phase 3 asbestos water main replacement, $393, $88.20. Again, replace water main Bear Ridge Road, $370,160.80. Total $763,252.28. From Kensico Capital Projects.
We have to check to see if that's a duplicate.
Was that a duplicate?
It looks like it is, but we have,
You know what, I'm reading it, I'm saying to
we can
myself,
check that.
did I go too fast? Did I miss something?
No.
And, yeah, it looks like
It's put in there twice, but
yeah. So
We
we're
can-
gonna check on that. It may be incorrect. It may affect our overall total of this report. So we'll approve it probably pending verification that the math is correct.
right.
Moving forward with the report, the next category is Kensico Capital Projects, HD Supply Incorporated, $1,374.91. Same category, Kensico Capital Projects, $1,016.40, $1,005.11. Laws Construction Corporation, piping modification, twin storage tanks, $145,679.08. For Kensico Capital Projects, the total was $149,075.50. Moving forward to the Special Drainage District, Chemeng Supply, $3,775. Again, for piping and couplings, $4,368. Expanded Supply Products Incorporated, $1,418. Again, the same category, $3,515. The total is $13,076 for that category, Special Drainage District. Moving forward to Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District, the Village of Pleasantville sewer connections, $34,350. Joint Water District Fund, Stolowski Automotive, $13,002. Mechanical Water District Number 1, George S. Coyne Chemical Company, $1,792. We got a credit for a pallet return of $100 on that sale. PVS Mini Bulk Incorporated, $591.64. For that particular category, we spent $2,284.54. The next category is Kensico Water, Denora Water Technologies LLC, $19,030.46. Again, moving on to Kensico Water, PVS Mini Bulk Incorporated, $3,945.57. Shannon Chemical Corporation, $22,906.79. For Kensico Water, we spent $45,882.82. Trust and Agency Escrow, Cleary Consulting, for 3 different projects, 150, 150, and 150. Cleary Consulting, 715 Sleepy, $3,975. Harris Beach Toll Brothers, $22,481. Harris Beach DEP contract, $2,394. And Harris Beach DE contract number 2, $2,394. That may be a duplicate too.
Yes, this looks like it's the same amount, Tom.
Yeah, I'll double check.
And again, Cleary
Okay, thank
Consulting, 7090 Hardscrabble Road, $825 for that particular category of trust and agency escrow. The total is $32,519. Gifts and donations, youth, Amazon Capital, SVC. These are for our military banners, $581.22. Michael A. Martin, DBA Military Tribute Banners, $1,231. The total is $1,812.22 for gifts and donations. Now, the grand total, we're going to do the math. And again, thanks for being patient. It was a very, very long controller's memo. $1,928,739.81. I move to approval contingent on the math is correct. There was 2 entries that look like they were duplicate, so we're going to check with the controller's office and make sure the math is correct. So I'm moving for approval based on the correct math.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we got one more item. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your patience. The second item is, again, the controller's office. It's authorization for final lump sum payout for a highway department employee. Authorization to provide a final lump sum payout for highway department employee Stephen Muscolino. It's a retirement, and he had vacation leave, sick leave, again, per union contract. The grand total was $32,634.22. I move for approval.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilwoman Zano, I don't
Thank you.
believe you have anything.
I don't, but I just have 2 quick announcements. Pool registration hours have been extended. Saturday, May 17th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Thursday, May 29th, hours will be extended from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Also, if you've signed up or if you want to just come and watch, the Recreation and Parks Department is bringing back the Fishing Derby at Carroll Park. That'll be held this Saturday, the 17th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Saraceno.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, residents. Out of the Highway Department, I will begin with Resolution 218-25. This is a purchase order for the cleaning of the oil and water separator at both the Highway Department facility and the Water Department facility. We had 2 bidders instead of 3 because there were only two companies that perform this very specific service. We have awarded a bid and in addition have allowed for a 10% increase on the total cost of the final invoice as the price may increase at the time of service due to additional items that may need to be completed at both facilities. The 2 bidders were American Petroleum Equipment and Construction Company, and the other was Safety Clean. Safety Clean was awarded the bid in the amount of $7,185.24. I will move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 219-25. Authorization is requested for the town supervisor to sign the corrected version of the attached 2024 through 2029 New York State DOT's agreement to extend its municipal snow and ice agreement with the attached map, as well as attached agreements and worksheets done for years prior. So this is just correcting, a corrected agreement was performed between the Highway Department and the New York State Department of Transportation. And this is authorizing us to sign off on that. I'll move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 220-25, authorization is requested to execute a hold harmless agreement with homeowners at 18 Pamela Lane, located in Valhalla, to permit encroachment into the town's right-of-way. This is in relation to a retaining wall on that property. I will move for approval, please.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 221-25. This is authorization to deposit a bond for curb cut permit number 1513. A check covering the bond amount for the curb cut permit was forwarded to the Office of the Comptroller for deposit into the town's escrow account. Into the escrow account until the work being performed under the bond has been completed and the road has been restored to the satisfaction of the Superintendent of Highways. Again, this is curb cut permit number 1513, awarded to Charles Alfano at 15 Greenwood Lane, Valhalla. The bond amount is $720. Move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 222-25, authorization to promote an employee, James Maxwell, to motor equipment operator at MEO Level 1 in the Highway Department, effective May 14, 2025, salary per the Teamsters contract. Mr. Maxwell's qualifications meet all the requirements for this position. His salary increase will be based on the current union agreement, and the promotion is within the adopted 2025 Highway Department's budget. If approved, this will become effective May 14, 2025, which is tomorrow. I also, aside from the fact that he has qualifications that meet all the requirements, I can say that in many ways Mr. Maxwell exceeds those requirements. I've known him a long time. I know his work ethic, and I congratulate him on this promotion. Move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 223-25, authorization to hire Roberto Juarez as a full-time road maintainer for the Highway Department, also effective tomorrow, May 14th, 2025, salary per the Teamsters contract. This is a new hire his approval will be pending a physical exam and a pre-employment drug test. Looking at his credentials, he has a lot of qualifications that make him a very I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, diverse in terms of skill set. He will be a very versatile employee and be
Well
able to...
said. Well
Yeah,
said.
yeah, there you go. He'll be able to put, all right, let's move on. Good job. Congratulations, Roberto. Move for approval.
Question, please?
Yes.
You mentioned that it's a new hire, but my understanding is this is just to replace a retiree. Is that correct?
Correct, and we're replacing we're replacing the retiree with a promotion, and we're actually hiring at a lower level. So it'll be a net cost savings for the town for now.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that.
Yes, thank you.
And I second that. Thank you.
Second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Great. Resolution 224-25, authorization to hire William Scalpelhorn as a seasonal employee in the Highway Department, effective May 19th, 2025. If approved, this will be effective on the 19th at a salary rate of $21 per hour. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 225-25, authorization to hire Paul Scopino as a seasonal employee in the Highway Department, also effective May 19th, 2025. This will, in addition to the previous, be at a rate of $21 per hour for the seasonal employee. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And last, I have Resolution 226-25, authorization to hire an additional seasonal employee named Michael Clifford, effective May 20th, 2025, at a rate of $21 per hour. Move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Councilwoman Smalley.
Good evening. My report is from the Police Department. The first item is Purchase Order 30-25-16. This is for Potter's Industry Incorporated, and it is for glass spheres for road marking as per New York State contract. 10,000 pounds at $4.85 per pound for a total of $4,850, including freight shipped in 50-pound bags or 200 bags palletized for delivery. Again, the total cost is $4,850. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the second item, again, has to do with painting roads. It's purchase order 30-25-17. The vendor is the Sherwin-Williams Company in Cleveland, Ohio. The total cost of this, and it is a shared service with the Village of Pleasantville and the Village of Sleepy Hollow. The total cost is $21,163.25, which includes freight. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And if I can have just the attention of the supervisor and the board and the audience in Mount Pleasant via television, since our residents have left, I have a statement I'd like to read. Today, as liaison to the Mount Pleasant Police Department, I had the distinct honor to attend the Mount Pleasant Police Department Awards ceremony held at our own community center. There, Police Chief Paul Oliva welcomed his staff and their families. Police Lieutenant John Bacardi had researched and prepared the awards, citations, and certificates of merit for many of our police officers. The recognition of exemplary service dated back to incidents that occurred within town of Mount Pleasant from 2014 through 2023 and into 2024. Each event was described and, the roles of the officers involved were highlighted. The incidents and events ranged from traffic stops that resulted in arrests for illegal substances and unregistered weapons, to a 3-hour extrication of a driver who was pinned under his steering wheel. The next step for this driver would have been a traumatic amputation of his leg, had Mount Pleasant Police not been on the scene and been able to help him. A recent attempted burglary was thwarted after one of our police officers scaled a wall and another tackled a perpetrator. Again, this is public safety at the highest level. Societal problems have often had our police officers themselves placed in harm's way. Domestic abuse can turn violent. Individuals responding to Narcan can become combative. In all of these incidents, Town of Mount Pleasant officers put their training to work. They responded professionally, with confidence and fortitude, did what they had to do to prevent a bad situation from getting worse. The most poignant stories of the afternoon involved the descriptions of how our officers used their emergency training to help a citizen or several citizens in medical distress. These officers were highlighted for their composure, patience, and skill while they rendered the necessary care. All in all, it was a heartwarming afternoon to honor those who go above and beyond. If I could emphasize the fact of all of the description today, I would just say what the police chief responded and repeated throughout the afternoon. They saved a life. To all our Town of Mount Pleasant police officers and their support staff, I say thank you. I am proud to serve as your liaison this year, and I am grateful for your service to our residents and town 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask our town attorney to review tax certs.
Do we have any today?
We
I
have
may have missed it, I'm sorry.
2 of them. Well, 2, at least 2.
Can you give me 1 second, I'll pull it up? Sorry,
All right.
I know we want to go home.
Skyline Drive,
Yes, sorry, hold on, I'm sorry. Chris did it, I apologize. There we go. It's coming up, sorry. So one would be,
Yeah, 1 Skyline Drive?
yep, I have it, sorry. The first one is, years 22, 23, 24 for 1 Skyline Drive, section 111.2, block 1, lot 81. And it's a settlement for those 4 years with an approximate refund of $5,000. And the second one is for 5 years for 8 Cary Court in Pleasantville, section 99.15, block 1, lot 12, and that's the estimated refund of $2,000. So I'd request a motion to approve those 2 tax search settlements.
Need a
So
motion?
moved.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our scheduled meetings, work session is Tuesday, May 20th, 7 PM. Business session Tuesday, May 27th, 7 PM. If there be no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Tom, second by Lori. Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good
Good night,
evening.
all.
Thank you.